Hey there guys, how's it going? So, let's talk about this fight that's coming up later this month in the super middleweight division between Felix Sturm and undefeated Timo Rost. So let's talk about this fight. Now, I mentioned in an earlier video, I think I made about a couple of weeks ago, that Felix Sturm was going to be making a comeback. Now, it's been almost 5 years since Felix Sturm was last in the ring, and that was, of course, when he won the WBA title against Chudanov in a pretty controversial decision. It was a fight that Sturm definitely showed his age, showed a lot of wear and tear, and that was basically his last hurrah, his last shot at a world title, and he ended up ultimately prevailing. And yeah, that was his last fight. That was almost 5 years ago. And yeah, since then he has been out of the ring. He's had a lot of legal trouble. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, I believe, which he only did a certain amount of that sentence. He didn't do the whole time. But he definitely did do a stint in prison prior to getting out and arranging this fight. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Felix Sturm looks, because not only has he been out of the ring for 5 years, not only has he had injuries to contend with, not only has he just finished a prison sentence, but in addition to all that, he is 41 years old. So this is definitely going to be a shop-worn and rusty version of Felix Sturm, who's got a lot to contend with. He's probably not been in great shape, probably hasn't been sparring, and it's going to be interesting to see how he looks on his comeback. Now, as far as his opponent, Timo Rost, goes, now, just based on what I've told you about Felix Sturm and the situation that he's in, this opportunity couldn't have come at a better time for a fighter like Timo Rost, who, of course, is looking for a fight to sort of get himself into the big leagues. And he has a great opportunity here. Now, I didn't know who Timo Rost was before this fight was signed, but I did a bit of research on him, and yeah, he's undefeated in 12 fights. He has 10 wins with 3 knockouts and 2 draws. From what I've seen of Timo Rost, and there is quite a bit of footage out there on him, he looks like a pretty basic fighter. He's one of these fighters who's very bouncy, very herky-jerky, throws lots of feints, lots of jabs, moves around a lot. He's got a decent jab, he's got decent hand speed, and he's also shown pretty good stamina. But what he hasn't shown, and what I don't think he ever will show, if I'm being honest, is punching power. He's a incredibly feather-fisted fighter. The guy's got no power whatsoever. And based on what I've seen, even against some of the journeymen that he's been fighting, guys with losing records, he hasn't shown serious power against any of them, and he's only had 3 stoppages, 3 knockouts in his whole career. So that doesn't really bode well for him going into to fight a guy as durable and as tough as Felix Sturm. I mean, Felix Sturm is one of these fighters who never hits the canvas. He's a guy who's always so physically durable and well balanced. He's got a great tight guard, a good chin. He tucks up nicely, tucks his chin. He doesn't really get hit clean very often, and he's a very tough and durable fighter. And even against big punchers, really solid come forward pressure fighters, he doesn't tend to hit the canvas. He's a guy who's shown a really sturdy chin and a really good defense throughout his career. So it would be very, very unlikely to see him get stopped by a fighter like Timo Rost. However, the opportunity that Timo Rost has here is to win this fight on points, by a decision, because Felix Sturm, like I said, he's durable, he's tough, so I can't see him getting stopped. But one of the things that was increasingly prominent about Sturm was his lack of volume in the later stage of his career. So with him coming back after a long layoff and a prison sentence, I cannot see him being a very high volume fighter. So Timo Rost has an opportunity here. He's got the perfect time and the perfect, just the perfect timing. It couldn't have come at a better time for him to maybe spring an upset and outwork and outpoint Felix Sturm. If Felix Sturm is anywhere near close to the Felix Sturm of 5 years ago, he will defeat Timo Rost, probably a wide decision, maybe a late stoppage. I think most likely a wide decision. But if he's not Felix Sturm from 5 years ago, if this is a shop-worn, way shot to pieces Felix Sturm, I could potentially see Timo Rost springing the upset. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think that Felix Sturm would have taken this fight if he wasn't confident that he could go out on a win, because I do think that he wants to sort of resurrect his career and maybe go out on a high note, because the Chudinov win, whereas it was a good victory, there was controversy surrounding it because a lot of people, including myself, thought that Chudinov did enough to win, and I think Felix Sturm wants to either go out on a high or maybe see what he's got left. So I'm expecting him to win the fight, but I'm not confident in that at all because Timo Rost, like I've said, the guy's got pretty good stamina and fast hands too. He throws a lot of jabs, he throws a lot of like hooks to the body inside and stuff like that. Like he's really energetic and really up for this. I think he's going to come to fight and he's going to look to outpoint and outwork Felix Sturm. But I just think that Felix Sturm has too much experience. He's too durable, and I think he will just chug his way forward to a close decision victory. I think that Felix Sturm's superior experience, his superior power, because he's a much bigger puncher than a guy like Timo Rost. I think Felix Sturm will chug forward. I think he'll get the jab going. I think he'll do that classic Felix Sturm tactic of he'll tuck up nicely and he'll absorb the punches on his forearms and his guard, and then he'll fire back with hooks and uppercuts, and he'll just land the quality, eye-catching punches. And I think he's going to win this fight on points. A stoppage is possible, but I think the most likely outcome here is Felix Sturm by a close, unanimous decision where he maybe gets outworked, but he just lands the more crisper, cleaner, harder, more eye-catching, quality punches and snaps back the head of Timo Rost and just does that little bit more at the end of each round to take them on the scorecards. I see Felix Sturm winning the fight. Close, unanimous decision. And if he looks good in this fight, maybe he can get himself another world title shot. You never know. I mean, I don't see that happening, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fighters at super middleweight who would absolutely love an opportunity to fight Felix Sturm and get that name on their record. I mean, you look at somebody like Vincent Feigenboots, for example, another big name in Germany. You know, he would, I'm sure he would love an opportunity to fight Felix Sturm and get that name on his record. And even some of the champions, like fighters like David Benavidez or Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Plant or obviously Callum Smith and Canelo, whatever goes on there. I'm sure they would love to get a guy like Felix Sturm on their record because the guy is pretty much a legend of the middleweight division, and of course he's a former super middleweight champion. So yeah, he's a good name to have on the record. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm going with Felix Sturm by a unanimous decision, but I'm not 100% confident. I just think it's the most likely outcome. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. God bless.